What is up, everyone? DJ Martini Midwest Reviews coming at you with another video. Today I'm talking about free TV airway antennas, broadcast antennas. So you can get some free cables, some free over-the-air channels, and we're going to talk about that just a little bit in general. But also updating your technology a little bit when it comes to antennas. That way you can get the most channels in your area as well, because I noticed they keep getting longer distances and things like that. And so I made a video about 4 years ago and I still get questions on it. People still watch it. So definitely want to kind of update it and talk about some of these antennas as well and answer some of the questions that I get a lot about antennas. So thank you so much for tuning in. DJ Martini Midwest Reviews. If you've never tuned in, just know I love to do reviews. I love to do tutorials, little helpers like this. Do that research for you so you don't have to. Give it to you as easy as possible and leave some links in case you're interested in some of the products that we talk about. So thank you so much. Please join the Martini Nation. Let's continue to grow this with great subscribers and great feedback like I get. So thank you so much. And let's get into the video. If I can help one person out there, I'm super happy. And if this is helpful, give me a like or subscribe. Thank you. All right, let's get into it. So this is the antenna I bought. It's pretty easy. It says it's a digital HD TV antenna. This is the model number. Nothing fancy actually going on here. And when I got it, it just was this. I thought it was actually going to be like a little box, but it's actually just like a little fan almost. I'm guessing this just has coiled wires in it, and it's supposed to be up to a 480-mile range antenna. I honestly didn't believe that when I looked at it. I said, oh, this is going to be returned right away. It actually was an improvement over my old antenna, so I can't bash it at all because it actually worked pretty good. I'm telling you that already. It does have a signal booster, and that's what this is. This little box. It says long range and short range, and so if you just switch it, the lights do change from green to yellow. I think the green light is long range and the yellow is short range, and so that's all you got. And you do have to plug it in for it to get that signal booster, and we're going to talk about how well those work. And it does have just a regular coaxial cable wire in the middle there, but it does have a very long cable. It's about 20 foot, so that's cool. So you can mount it really high, and that's what I would suggest when you do that. And so that's all we got here. I'm going to show you how to hook it up in a second, but that's all you have for an antenna. I want to show some old examples. This is the one that I made a video on about 4 years ago. Like I said, this is still working pretty good, and so I'm still going to hold on to it. I do notice I get more channels with this. This was about a 300-mile range, and this was a 500-mile range, and I absolutely do notice the difference. So something to think about. I just want to show you an example of some bunny ears. This is an old 2000, probably I got this, maybe. This will still work. You can actually still use this. There's no problem with that, but you're just not going to pick up a lot of stations. And also, the higher you can get this, the better, more stations you will get, honestly. So they still work, but you definitely want to try to get them higher. And so one point I want to make right away, and a lot of people ask me, why these antennas don't work, or how come I'm not getting that many channels in my area? Well, there's so many factors that are going to cause that. And so weather, cloudiness, stormy weather, snow, clouds in the air, anything blocking. Also, signal interference, Bluetooth, internet. Man, there's just all kinds of things in our airways that can block it. And then also just natural obstacles, trees, planes, birds. And it's only going to be slight interference, but that could cause interference. And so definitely things like that all are factors that can affect your TV. Also, one major thing is if your basement is underground basement, under the ground, has cement around it, those types of things, cement blocks, that is going to affect how many channels you get in your basement. So if you're using antennas in your basement and you can't get the antenna up to the next level, then you're going to get less channels in your basement. Absolutely. Kind of prove that here in a little test that I'll do here in just a little bit. Upstairs, in my upper levels in my house, or if I had an attic bedroom or something like that, you're going to get the best reception because you're definitely higher and be able to capture those airwaves a little bit. Now, a lot of these antennas say that they're indoor-outdoor use, but with the weather that we've been having lately, where it's 30 degrees in the morning and 70 degrees in the afternoon, I don't think the longevity on these antennas will make it a long time in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. And so some of these cheaper antennas like we have here, a $35 one and a $20 one that I have here, the rabbit ears you can get for like $10 these days. So though the rabbit ears might survive a little bit outside, but I don't think these plastic models will last that long. And I kind of saw that. I had about, it was probably about 10 years old now, and it was a GE that I picked up from Walmart, and it kind of had the rabbit ears, but then it also had a box that I'm sure it had coils in as well. Well, when I took that off the wall, I noticed that I wasn't getting really good reception anymore, and it was an upstairs middle level TV, and it just wasn't constantly. I would have, lose channels and they would come back and lose, and it wasn't picking up all the stations that I used to pick up. So I just noticed it was degrading. So when I took it off the wall, and it had just been mounted on the wall, it didn't fall or anything. And so when I took it off, it literally, I could hear the inside just shaking, like pieces had just broke off inside. And so I think it had kind of degraded over time. And so I don't know if that was like little wires or, what was going on inside, but I do notice that you might want to give that an option if you're having some issues with an older antenna. If it was that type of antenna, if you hear any pieces that have broke off or you just degraded over time. So that could be something also that's going on. And that was probably, like I said, it wasn't super old, but it was probably, 8 to 10 years old. It wasn't as old as this. And so they don't make them like they used to. And so this thing is super old, but it still works pretty well if you just want to pick up the main stations in your area. Now, like I said, that was a plastic one, but it probably had things inside of it. And like I said, it just had degraded. So something you want to look into as well. Let's go ahead and plug this in and show you how to hook it up. So once again, you want to put this as high as possible to get the best. Now, I'm not going to do that in this example. I'm just going to be having it set on a chair, which, like I said, probably not the best idea. You probably want to, put it as high on your wall as you can. That is just an option. I have my TV here. I'm going to go ahead and turn it around and actually have another antenna plugged into this. So I'm going to show you with this one. But I just want to show you here that this is your antenna in right here, and that is a USB port right there. So that's what we're going to need to plug both of these in. So I'm going to go ahead and set this TV back down. Since I have this other antenna, not a big deal if I just show you with that antenna, but I will plug that plug in for the signal adapter because it's the same as my new one. And then you just want to screw that coax cable into the antenna in there. So that one looked like that. This is your signal booster right here, like I said, and it does have a switch on it, long range, short range. And then you do want to plug in that USB into the TV. So we have all that plugged in. I have it on the long range right now. I'm going to flip this around and we'll show you how to get that programmed here. Also, if you don't have a lot of USB ports on your TV, this is a splitter, and these are really handy. They do accept data and they will power items too. So if you need a couple extra ports, this is a good little accessory to be able to give you a couple more. Another little thing is this is a 4G, 5G LT filter. Some of the things that are blocking interference from the airways from these antennas from getting some of these channels is LTE, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, all kinds of things can affect that. So these can kind of help sometimes. So it just depends on the different signals in your area. So sometimes they work really good and sometimes they might not work at all because you just don't have a lot of that interference anyways in your area or where you're at. So kind of depends. You might want to just try it out. But they are a little expensive. Sometimes they're about $15 to $20, but kind of something to try out if you're definitely trying to get the best reception you can. All right, let's show you. This is a Samsung TV. So your TV might be a little different, but it's going to be very, very similar. I'm sure I'm going to pick up a channel right away because, like I said, it's working. This is this particular antenna right here, but all the ways of doing this will be the same. So you go to your menu or your settings, and you're going to go to antenna, or you're going to go to like cable. It might be called different. And then you're going to go to auto program, and you're just going to hit start the auto program, and it's going to be DTV, which is digital TV, or your digital channels that you're picking up over the air, and it does say air, and it's going to just scan. Now, like I said, This is just sitting right next to it, but if you put it higher, we're going to get more channels. But I'm just showing you an example of how to get this set up. And you're just going to let it do its scan, and we'll see how many channels we're going to get. Now, I did this many times with the 3 different antennas that I have here. The bunny ears, this square one we'll call right here, this tube, and then the flat kind of fan antenna right here. And with the new one that I just purchased, which is this one right here, I did get more channels with the new one. It's a 2024, and I picked up on my upstairs level on a beautiful sunny day, I picked up 47 channels, which is ridiculous. I've never picked up that many channels in my area, including a duplicate Fox channel. So it's like, it's the same channel, but it's coming in from a different area. So I do know it's hitting a pretty far range for me to pick up a duplicate of the same channel from another antenna somewhere. 47 channels on a clear sunny day on an upper level, and that was pretty good. Of course, in my basement, so I'm picking 18 channels up here in my basement. And it is picking up the main channels that I would watch that do have some sports like Fox or CBS, and it's picking up most of those stations. So that's pretty good. And this is my older antenna that's a 300 mile range one. With the testing I did with the new one, I did pick up automatically 25 channels in my basement when I did it with the short range booster. When I did it with the long range, I did pick up 30, so that is an improvement. Now, I have tested it with this one as well, and I sometimes do pick up the 25 channels that I do pick up with this one, but it was more frequent that I picked it up with the newer antenna than the older antenna. And also, with the long range and short range booster, I did notice sometimes I would pick it up and sometimes I won't, but I never picked up 30 channels with this one, but I did with the new one with the long range booster on. So I do know it does work, but like I said, it just can be a factor of reception in your area or interference with different things in your basement. And like I said, I am definitely getting less channels in my basement than upstairs in an upstairs level of my house. So just something to pick up. Now with the bunny ears, you guys are not going to be surprised that I picked up only 12 channels every time I tested it. And so it definitely only picked up not as many channels, and also I was missing a couple of channels that I normally get with, you know, even the $20 one here. So the filter didn't really do anything for me in my basement, but like I said, that could be an issue where it could help me somewhere else where I might have, maybe I have, you know, some phones around that particular thing, or the LTE, like I said, or wireless or Bluetooth. Some of those filters might help with that if I had it on an upstairs TV. So just depending on where you have those items kind of can depend on the signal that you're going to get from those airways. Now, another factor that I want to bring into this as well is, like we already talked about, obstacles and things like that, walls, trees, planes, you know, a lot of different things can affect the airway. But one thing that I do notice is these still work without the signal booster. So if you do not plug them in, you still will get reception. You'll still get a lot of channels actually. I did get 25 channels down here without even plugging it in with the signal booster, but I did notice I did get a little, those 30 sometimes if I could pick them up with the signal booster, but I never picked them up on the, you know, couple times that I ran the scans without the signal booster. So it does work, but like I said, they'll still work if you can't plug them in for some reason. And so that's pretty cool too, that you can use the antenna and it'll still work with just being hooked up with the coax cable. So if you just hook it up with this and you just have the antenna up and you can't plug it in for some reason, it'll still work. It just won't get you as many channels as you could if you can use that signal booster. And like I said, sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. It just depends on how many channels you can get. So that was kind of interesting too, that I wanted to put in there. Other than that, I think that's all I got for you today. You know, overall positives about having antennas is that you don't have to rely on, if your internet goes out and you have, you know, over the internet type channels, you're still going to be able to pick up some of your local channels. So if you have some severe weather, those types of things, and you have a generator and you can still fire up your TV, you can still get those over the air channels as long as you're, you know, even in storms and stuff. Depending on, you know, the weather and stuff like that, but you're still going to be able to pick up something. And usually I have noticed that because I do have a little mini generator, so I can still run a little TV. And in inclement weather, I still had and was able to watch weather channels even in my basement. It might not be the station that I want, but it will pick up at least a local channel good enough to be able to watch little weather reports. So that was kind of cool. Even in an emergency type situation, these over-the-air antennas will be able to pick up some TV. So that's definitely a bonus and something to think about. Like I said, with the newer 2024 model that I have, I did notice I pick up more stations, and the longer the range sometimes is a factor. And so I can't vouch for like the super expensive ones that you might pay that have, say, their 900-mile range. But I can tell you from the little increments that I've gone from a 300 to a 500 that I have got more. So I am saying that it probably does help to have a little bit longer range, but I can't guarantee that because, like I said, every area is going to be different. You might check your local internet to make sure, find out what your local stations are and where exactly they might be positioned in your city. So maybe they're west or maybe they're east or whatever direction. You might want to pick up that particular channel. If you absolutely want that local channel, you might want to put your antenna on that wall or that side of the house. So then you're going to be closer to that antenna. And that can kind of help you too, to help pick up certain channels that you want in your area. But I can't guarantee. Some people are like, well, it says it on the package that I'm going to get Univision or something like that, a certain channel. Even though it says that on the package, it might not guarantee that because it just can't pick up that signal, so that signal might not be that close in your area. So you kind of have to definitely do a little research, and it's just not always going to pick it up depending on all the factors that we've talked about today. So it's just kind of I wouldn't say a gamble, but it's just, you're going to get what you get in your area with the antenna that you have, and even if you just had a basic antenna, you're really going to know what your local stations are and what's closer to you because it's going to pick up those channels every time. You're also going to get some other channels with a longer range, which I did notice when I'm using it in an upstairs higher level. So you're going to get more stations the higher you can get your antenna. Also, you're going to get more stations that you want if you put that antenna on the side of the house where that antenna is closer to. You're going to get better reception on sunny, beautiful days than you will on bad weather days. And just some of those things to think about. Also, I will recommend that from the testing that I did, that with longer range antennas, you're going to get a little bit more channels. So if you have a 500-mile range antenna, it's going to do a little bit better than a 300-mile range antenna. Also, I found out that the signal boosters don't need to be plugged in, and you're still going to be able to get a decent range of channels, but they do a little bit better with them plugged in. So other than that, hopefully there's a lot of information. Hopefully if it helped one person out there, I'm super excited. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been DJ Martini Midwest Reviews. Once again, this has been about TV antennas and free TV. So grab one and you'll still be able to pick up some over-the-airway stations that are still out there. And in your local area, it might help you in a weather emergency too. So something to think about. All right, thank you so much. DJ Martini Midwest Reviews. Tons of more content coming this year in 2024, so check it out. Got more tutorials and more item reviews. So check me out, like, subscribe, and share, and we'll see you really soon on my next video.